peeps. This is part 3 and the last video tutorial in the bottom up magic loop knitted knocker series. In this video, we are going to work on the transition rows that separate the bottom of the knocker from the top of the knocker. And then I'm going to show you how to work the decreases to complete and finish the top of the knocker. We'll then talk a bit about finishing off the knocker and the steps involved in stuffing it and getting it ready for final gifting. So here we go. All right, peeps, so here we go. So in the first 2 videos, we learned how to cast on and do our increasing to create the bottom of the knocker. And here is one completed bottom of a C-cup size knocker, where I've done the increasing at the 3 points. I have 2 sides on one side of the magic loop needle and the 3rd side on the other. I've increased, so I have equals the number of stitches in each section, 3 sections, and it's the correct number of stitches per section. And so now I'm ready to transition to the top of the knocker. And so to do that, we are simply going to continue in magic loop. But once again, I have my front needle with the 2 sides on it, my back needle with the 1 side on it. I'm gonna slide everything up here, making sure my working yarn is on the top. Get all set up, and the transition rows are simply 2 rows of purl stitches. And actually for those, to start a purl stitch in magic loop, we actually need our yarn on the bottom this time. So we start with our yarn on the bottom. We're just going to do 2 complete rounds of purl stitches. So we're going to purl down the entire front, slipping the marker right there when we come to it, right there, and then we're going to purl back, switch our magic loop and purl back up the other side. So that'll be 1 round, and we'll do that again. So here's how this goes. Then I'll stop the video or speed it up, whichever I can figure out how to do, and we'll come back when we're ready to start our decreasing. So here we go. To start our magic loop purling, we're just going to again slide that back needle out, but maintaining the loop on the other side, and we are simply going to start purling here. So there is our purling, just like so. And I am going to purl down this entire front side, and then I'm going to magic loop it around and purl back up the other side. Okay, so here I am finishing up 2 rounds of those transition rows. So that is 2 complete rounds of purl stitches, and I'm just finishing up the 2nd round right now. So you can see now I have 2 rounds, if I get up close here, of purl stitches. I just completed the last section of those. I'm going to turn it around, and that forms the transition between it makes a nice transition between the bottom of the knocker and what we're going to be making next, the top of the knocker. So to do the top of the knocker, it's a little bit easier than the bottom. We don't have any of this, increase 3, then increase 6. You're just going to increase every round, you're going to decrease 1 stitch at the end of each section. So we're going to knit until we get to the end of section 1, 2 stitches before the end. We're going to knit 2 together, slip the marker. We're going to then knit to 2 stitches before the end of section 2, which happens to be the end of the first needle here. Knit 2 together. We're going to do our little magic loop magic, and then we're going to turn it around and we will knit to the end of section 3, 2 stitches before the end, and knit 2 together. So here we go. I'll show you 1 round of that. And you'll keep completing that decrease every round until you get down to 6 stitches left, 2 per section. So here we go. Section 1, we're going to, and I have my magic loop set up here, you can see it. I started with the yarn on top. We're gonna knit to 2 stitches before the marker. Sorry, I'm watching the video. I need to be watching my hands. There we are, that's going better. So we knit down till we get to 2 stitches before the marker, and then we're gonna do a knit 2 together decrease. So here we go, continuing on. I'll try to be speedy about this. I'm sure it's not the most interesting thing to watch. And I can't talk and knit at the same time very well, but I do my best. So here we are, we're approaching 2 stitches before the marker. Let's see, a couple more, one, looks like one more here. So here I am, here's my marker, here's 2 stitches before the marker. And I'm just simply, instead of knitting 1 stitch, I'm going to grab 2 of them and knit them together, just as a normal knit, but you're knitting 2 together instead of 1, and that decreases 1 stitch. Then I'm slipping the marker, and I'm gonna knit all the way down to the end of section 2. Now we're in section 2. So here we go. Once again, I'll try to be speedy. And so I'm getting down towards the end of section 2, which is the last section on the front needle here. Here I am, 2 stitches before the end of section 2 left, and we're simply going to knit those 2 together. Then we adjust our magic loop. So get some more yarn out here, turn it around, slide that front needle back in, get all set up, yarn on top, slide that back needle out, and now we're just going to knit to 2 stitches before the end of section 3, the last section. And so I think you'll find this quite a bit easier than the bottom, because you're just doing the same thing round after round after round. And for any of you that have made hats with me, it's exactly, well, not exactly, but it's similar to how we decrease the top of the hat. Usually on a hat, we're decreasing every other round. In this case, we are decreasing every round. At the end of each section, 1 stitch. And so here we are at the end of the last section, section 3. And once again, we're simply going to knit these last 2 stitches together. And that completed 1 whole decrease round. We're just going to keep doing that over and over again. Once again, I slide my needle out and adjust my magic loop and start again. Once again, here we are in section 1. We are going to knit to 2 stitches before the marker. Knit those 2 stitches together, slip the marker, knit to 2 stitches before the end, knit those 2 together, turn the whole thing around, knit to the end, 2 stitches before the end, and knit those 2 together, and just keep repeating that over and over and over. When, oops, I'm gonna lose some stitches here if I'm not careful. Let me capture those. So, the decreasing will end when you get down to 2 stitches left in each section. So there'll be 2 stitches in section 1, 2 stitches in section 2, 2 stitches in section 3. And at that point you'll stop the decreasing and you'll simply cut a length of yarn long enough to weave in, you know, a good 8 inches or so, 8-10 inches. And you will thread up a darning needle, and you're simply going to take those 6 stitches and run the darning needle with the thread attached through them to seal off the top. And then I kind of run it around one more time at the top just to kind of neaten everything up and seal it off. And then weave in that end, and we leave the bottom open. And in the next video, I'll show you how to finish the whole thing off. So I'm gonna shut this off and do a little knitting to finish this knocker, and then I'll be back on to show you how to finish everything up.